Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're taking a look today at an out-of-the-box wireless microphone system for your smartphone or camera. This is the Samson Go Mic system, and they sell these as kits for $200. You get a receiver and one of these two microphones in the box, and we're going to be taking a closer look at how this works and how it sounds in just a second. But I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, this came in free of charge through the Amazon Vine program. However, all the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get to it now and see what this kit is all about. So let's take a closer look now at the hardware. Again, it's a $200 kit, and in that kit you'll get the receiver and one of these two microphones. You've got a wireless lavalier with a body pack or the wireless stick mic. And the way this works is that it will connect up with your phone via USB. And so what you do here is just extend out the little arm there, get your phone in and tighten it up, and then there are cables included in the box for bringing that USB audio to your phone. So they'll give you a lightning cable for the iPhone or iPad. They also have other USB cables for Android phones, including a USB Type-C cable. And once connected, what's nice about this is that your phone will see it as a USB audio device. There's no drivers or apps to use. It'll work with anything that takes the USB audio input. So I was able to, for example, use my built-in iPhone camera app to record some video. But again, just about any app you might use to capture video or audio is going to work with this system. It was very simple to get all this up and running, and all the cables you need are in the box. Now, if you're using a camcorder or a digital SLR without a USB audio input, they also give you an analog audio output along with analog cables. So you can get all of that connected there, and I thought that was a very thoughtful addition as well. They also have a shoe mount that clips on right here at the bottom, so you can attach this to the top of your camera on its hot shoe mount. So there are mounting options for both digital and analog devices, if you will. What's also neat about this is that you can connect more than one microphone to it. So if I turn it on right now and then turn on the stick mic, you'll see channel 1 here light up. And then if I turn on this body pack here, you'll see channel 2 light up. So what you can do is, if you wanted to maybe get a second stick mic for your co-host, you can just buy the microphone for $79 and connect it to the receiver that you already have, and it will be able to mix those two audio sources together, or you can output them as discrete channels on the USB connector here, so you can make adjustments in post-production if you want. So one mic will be on the left, another one will be on the right in your stereo audio output. But if you're satisfied that you've got the right levels, it will mix them together as a single stereo mix just by flicking that switch over. Above that switch is a volume control, so you can control the output volume of the receiver with this little dial here. It's not very precise, but once you get it in there, you're good to go. I do recommend finding an app that does give you some visual audio meters, so you know exactly what your levels are going into your device. Otherwise, you're just kind of guessing, but you do have the ability to adjust the output level of the receiver. The power switch is here, and above that is a switch for controlling the analog audio output, which is right here. So what you can do is output a mix as stereo or one channel or the other channel. So your mixing options are a little more limited here on the analog audio output, because it will mix each channel together as a stereo output, or you can get one channel or the other. So bear that in mind if you are connecting up to a camcorder or DSLR, but typically those devices have audio meters built in, and you can make those adjustments while you're out in the field. So all in, I think it's not bad for the price point here. It's a relatively affordable system, and you do have some simplicity here and some basic controls for your audio levels. Just don't expect pro-level quality out of this thing, as you'll hear in a minute. There is a battery inside the receiver, which is rechargeable with this larger USB connector here. It's a mini USB connector. It's a different size, so you don't confuse the audio output with the charging input. But it is very easy to charge it. It's got a cable in the box to do that, and of course you can always plug in a USB battery to give you a little bit more juice out in the field. You're probably going to get about 8 to 10 hours of usage out of these devices before you have to do either a charge or a battery swap. But you can't swap the battery on the receiver. However, the transmitters, as I'll show you here, use AA batteries, both on the stick mic and on the lavalier body pack. Now you saw on the receiver you have the ability to adjust the output volume, but you can also adjust the input gain on the microphones, and it's got an odd way to do it. So what they did is they included a screwdriver inside of the transmitter, and they want you to use the screwdriver to adjust this gain dial here. And the manual really advises against making that adjustment. It's kind of funny. They said they tuned it to exactly where it should be, so you shouldn't have to touch it, which is probably why they made it look so difficult and daunting by using a screwdriver that they included inside the pack here. It's also inside of the stick microphone here, so what you do is unscrew the center portion of it. You'll have access to that screwdriver and the gain control, and then your batteries are located over here. And I have to say, the stick mic really feels nicer than the lavalier from a build quality standpoint. It's nice and solid. It's got a nice metal thing up top here, the cartridge, and the rest of it, even though it's plastic, feels very high quality and well built. The body pack here, not so much. In fact, it really feels kind of cheap and flimsy, although the belt clip here is metal and very, very sturdy. The rest of the pack just doesn't give me a lot of confidence. And the mic itself has this very thin cable that I think can easily be snagged. I'm very concerned about that. But it looks like you can probably bring in another microphone if you want, because this appears, to me at least, to be a mini XLR connector. So you might be able to find a higher quality microphone to pair up with this. I didn't have anything in my repertoire here to test with it, but you might want to consider a different mic, both from the build quality standpoint and also the audio quality standpoint. So let's take a look now at some audio samples. So here is a test in a quiet room with no other ambient noise. You can hear what the stick mic sounds like as I'm talking here. And now you can hear what the lavalier mic sounds like. And what I wanted to do, though, was replicate the kinds of experiences I have in some of these conferences that I go to where there's a lot of ambient noise. So let's hit the mute button here on my controller. And now this will kind of replicate what I experience when I'm at a show and there's a lot of other people talking and everything. So here you can hear what the stick mic is sounding like. And you can also hear whether or not the lavalier mic is able to clear out any of this audio. So I think the stick mic is probably going to be better when you're out in the field in an environment like this, so you can get a feel for how all of this works. So there you go. You can get a feel for what the audio sounds like out of each of these microphones, both in a quiet environment as well as maybe in a noisier environment where you might be trying to do some reporting. I was not impressed with the lavalier mic here at all. The build quality, as I mentioned, isn't all that great, and the sound was very muffled coming out of it. It really didn't have a good, high-quality, detailed sound that I was expecting here for the price point. The stick mic sounded better. But you do probably need to make some input gain adjustments, as you probably heard in that example. This was set to the factory defaults, what they recommended, and it sounded like it was peaking out a little bit. So you'll probably want to figure out where the best place is to hold it as you're trying to get things adjusted for your production, and then make some adjustments with that input gain thing there as well. And again, make sure you've got perhaps meters on the app that you're using. I also noticed that although the receiver here can detect when the microphone peaks, if you look at channel 2 here as I'm tapping the microphone, it lights up red to indicate we're peaking out. Even though I could hear this microphone peaking a bit, it wasn't indicating so with a red light on the receiver here. So again, you're really going to want to listen, look at your levels, and tune things in properly. Now the range on this is about 100 feet with the lavalier body pack. I got about 50 feet out of the stick mic when I tested this outside. They say in the specifications you should get 100 feet line of sight. So I think if you are reasonably close to your camera, it should be okay. But I want to give you a warning about how this operates, because not everyone's mileage will be the same on this one. This is a 2.4 gigahertz system. That is the same frequency range that your Wi-Fi operates on, for example. So if you're in an area with a lot of 2.4 gigahertz communication going on, whether it be Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or some other wireless thing going in the area with you, maybe a microwave oven, that will impact the reliability of the system, and you may not always see when things drop off. And if you're curious as to what happens when you do have interference or run out of range, I did a little test out in my backyard, and have a listen. Okay, so I'm all the way out here in my backyard. I'm going to start walking backwards here and go out of the line of sight of the receiver. And as I do, you're going to hear my audio start to drop off. It's not going to go out completely. So if I was just monitoring the meter, it would look like everything was fine. But so what I was saying there is that you definitely want to monitor your audio at all times with this system, because if you run out of range or you have some kind of 2.4 gigahertz interference coming into play, that's the output you're going to get. Your audio meters are still going to be bouncing, but what's coming over might be garbage. So that's one of the risks you have with a lower cost system, and it's definitely something to keep in mind if you are going to be using this in a production environment. Now, if you're looking for something more robust and reliable, the Sennheiser AVX system I found to be rock solid. I use it in New York City all the time. I used it at CES with a lot of other reporters using wireless systems and whatnot. That one operates on a different frequency band than Wi-Fi operates on, so typically you don't have too many problems with it out in the field. The problem, though, is that systems like that Sennheiser start at around $700 and work their way up from there. So if you're looking for kind of a starting point in your production adventure, I do kind of like the stick mic and receiver combo here, provided you are in an area that doesn't have too much interference and you have some expectations as to what you'll get out of this in the end run. But I think if you're looking for a way to get better audio into your phone, for example, and you want to do some reporting, this is probably a good way to start, to really start feeling your oats with on the field reporting and maybe doing some man and woman on the street interviews and that kind of thing. This will do very well at that, and I think it will give you better audio quality for your production, certainly much better than what your smartphone might have built into it. But I do not recommend going with the lavalier microphone. It just doesn't sound good enough to justify the price point here. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters Chris Allegretta, the Four Guys with Quarters podcast, Tom Albrecht, Gerard Newberg, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.